When men and women come together, we will completely transform this earth. When the masculine and feminine come together within us, our consciousness changes. This is one of the oldest spiritual schools of thought on earth, is the reconciliation of opposites, because it's the reconciliation of separation and essentially our reconnection with God. The thing is, though, all of that often ends up just being like a cool spiritual garb that people wear. The actual process of healing between men and women is fucking gnarly. It's gnarly because you're going to come into contact with the deepest wounds that live within you. Today, we're going to talk about what those wounds are and how the nervous system actually factors into this, so you can truly move the needle in your self-integration, but then also actually be able to come together with an external man or an external woman if that's what you desire. The core wound of every single human being is a combination of abandonment and unworthiness, because this core original wound reflects the split from unity, the split from creator into individuality. To be abandoned and to feel unworthy can only be experienced as an individual, right? If we were in unity consciousness, you wouldn't be able to experience that, because as a baseline, you perceive that you are in and of God, that you are whole, that you are one with all of life, that there is no sense of separation. So you wouldn't be able to actually experience either of those things. So the core wound of the human being is abandonment and unworthiness. And if we were to break this down into masculine and feminine, the way it is flavored or textured or polarized is that for the masculine, for men, it primarily takes on the amplification of not feeling enough. The unworthiness is really the core substrate of the masculine wound. No matter what I do, it's not enough. And the way this is typically polarized for the feminine is more so the abandonment gets amplified. Some sort of sense of, I will be left, I will be dropped, I won't be met, I won't be chosen. That sense of abandonment. And of course, at the core of unworthiness is the abandonment, because love was withdrawn, and then it was internalized as I'm not enough. And at the core of abandonment, the abandonment wound, is a sense of unworthiness. I was left, I wasn't chosen because I'm not enough. So they're not separate. They're inherently interconnected in the same way that masculine and feminine, yin and yang, are not separate. They're two poles of one thing. So if we actually look at the yin yang symbol, in the yin there's the dot of yang, in the yang there's the dot of yin. That's actually what I'm describing here. And the way that this wound gets hijacked by New Age spirituality and gets hijacked by the world of polarity in Neo-Tantra teachings, where people are trying to be the divine goddess or they're trying to be the masculine pillar, it's actually playing off these wounds. Because the man who's trying to be fully in integrity, to be the mountain, to be the rock for her feminine storm, to be the unshakable center, he is trying to be this idealized version of himself so that he can feel enough. It is a overcompensation for the unworthiness wound, as opposed to really excavating the inner world and finding that inner union, that you as a man are a channel of God, that there's this pathway we can forge, this inner union where we can touch our inherent and innate worthiness. That embodiment naturally has a downward cascade effect where you can be more present, you're able to contain the field more, you have more capacity, because you're not operating from this sense of hypervigilance and this sense of threat and this sense of survival that I need to prove myself to be enough. If you're connecting with a woman and that wound is driving the connection, it's going to feel very high stakes. When she brings reflections to you, it's going to trigger something. You're going to get defensive because, again, there's a wound, I'm not enough, and I don't want to feel that. So the more we feel that and come into the what's underneath that, the love and the truth of what you are underneath that, the less the charge that the unworthiness has, and the whole polarity changes. What we're actually talking about is a different kind of architecture here. It's something new we're building, right? It's not the tantric teachings, Kashmir Shaivism, all the spiritual traditions of the past are not going to take us into the future because we're evolving into something new. Because we have egos, we have individual sense of self, which didn't exist 3,000 years ago. So we're in a different playing field. So the world of polarity, the architecture is changing. Now, on the feminine side of this wound, we have the wound of abandonment. I'm going to be left. I'm going to be dropped. I'm not going to be chosen. And how this is hijacked by the polarity world is essentially trying to be a certain way so that the man chooses you, to be in your softness, to be surrendered, right? To be in your sensuality, to be in your sex, whatever the thing is. And again, it's coming from a wound. It's not coming from an innate sense of wholeness. And if you were to go underneath that and to touch the truth of who and what you are, you access the truth that you are in and of God, that you are actually whole and complete. This doesn't mean we don't need people, right? But it's like the drive to identify as a goddess, or the drive to be in your soft, feminine, sensual nature. I'm not bashing these things. I'm just, can be a hard pill to swallow, is that often the impulse to really attach and identify with those things is coming from, again, that blend of not feeling enough as you are and wanting to kind of hold a pose where you can ensure you won't be left or abandoned, where you can maintain and secure and grab connection. If I act like this, he'll love me. Both of these wounds can manifest in so many different ways. I'm just giving like some general broad strokes of what they could look like. It might show up differently for you. And the point being here is that when we actually work through these wounds and come into a deeper place of self-reclamation, where you stay with yourself, you truly reclaim your sovereignty, meaning you have reclaimed a sense, an embodied experience of, I am loved, period. Like, end of story. Like, I'm just loved. I'm enough, period. I'm chosen, period, because I am, because I exist. Which doesn't mean you don't experience the full range of human emotions, which doesn't mean these wounds, these core wounds don't crop up. I don't ever think they actually like fully 110% disappear, but it's that our relationship to them changes and you're not blended with them when they come up as an identity. You can feel the larger tapestry of who you are beyond that wound. Relationship is going to touch and trigger the exact attachment ruptures that happened in childhood. And from a nervous system perspective, I want to ground this into the body. All right, so let's just take a breath together. Just take a breath with me. Attachment wounds and attachment ruptures register as death in the biology, in our body. As an infant, as a child, if you were actually abandoned and not chosen, you would physiologically die. You wouldn't be able to take care of yourself. And layered on top of that is going to be a whole crust of shame. I am the reason I'm not chosen. I am the reason I'm not enough. We can't actually cognize that it's a failure of our environment or a failure of our caregivers. If something goes wrong and love is withdrawn in some way, so that secure attachment is taken, is not formed, as a child, you have to turn on yourself and start to look at yourself. What did I do to lose the connection? That is the origin point for both of these wounds. That is the origin point for every form of insecure attachment, whether it's anxious, disorganized, avoidant, it doesn't matter. All of them, it's the same core fear. I did something wrong to lose love. I am the problem. That wound will manifest differently in each person depending upon their attachment organization, depending upon if they're a man or a woman. But at the core, it's the same thing. We just work with it in different entry points because it manifests differently. And so because this charge is so primal and so biological, we have to work with the body. There's a place for top-down regulation, for mindset work, for belief work, but the real meat of this, we have to descend into the body and work with the trigger in the nervous system, because that charge is so strong, it actually changes your perception. So you're not actually going to perceive things accurately. This is where you project on people. This is where you can't tell the difference between threat and safety, or trauma and intuition. And so essentially what's happening is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system is getting supercharged. That's all an attachment style is. So if you're anxious, the fight is getting charged. And the way that sympathetic fight energy is coming out is, I need them closer. I need to grab on. I need to cling more. That's how you're trying to regulate yourself. That's how you're trying to regulate the charge. But underneath that charge is the wound of abandonment and unworthiness. And so we have to get under that sympathetic fight energy and turn towards all of those emotions that are under that and learn how to meet that. If you lean more avoidant, what's activating is the flight branch. So something happens, they get too close. You're like, oh no, I'm going to need to abandon a part of myself to like love them. Like, I'm going to get lost in this. I have to meet all their expectations. I'm going to lose my freedom, whatever it is. And the impulse is to turn away, to flight, to run. So all this to say, again, you can see now we can have this like cool spiritual framework and be like, oh my God, new earth, we're evolving. But like, the work is deeply human. And it's why everything that I do is rooted in the nervous system. It's why everything I do is rooted in somatics, because that's the only way that we can actually build the wiring and the architecture to be able to hold this charge. Otherwise, it's like having a house with no electrical wiring and we're trying to turn on the fucking light. And so for most people, the way to work with this, you have to start with building a foundation. Most people think that they've like done nervous system work and they haven't. Again, I'm not bashing things. It's just, it's not resets and hacks. You can't reset or hack your nervous system. You have to build capacity, meaning you can be in high sensation and still feel safe and still feel centered. You have to build attunement, meaning you can actually connect to yourself and what's happening inside your body from a true place of compassion and listening. Embodied presence, which is what was missing in childhood. Not fixing, not trying to solve, not trying to get the thing out of your body. You have to learn how to turn towards yourself to form a relationship with these parts of you that are holding these charges that have been cut off, that have been hidden. And then from there, you start to express differently. You make a different choice point. It's what has transformed the way I relate to people, the way I connect to people. It's what has transformed many of my clients' lives and their relationships and the way they move through the world. And so if you're interested in diving into this work with me, I have a few options for you. All of the links for this are going to be in the description. One is free, so I'll invite you to actually hop on my email list, which is different than the content that I put out on YouTube, on Instagram, on social media. I am taking all of these trainings that I ran from a previous somatic mentorship and membership space and putting them all into an easily digestible, self-paced course, low-ticket course that you can purchase one time, and you can actually go through this on your own and start to learn how to actually work with your nervous system, how to work with your attachment system, how to do all the stuff that we're talking about in this video so you can come into inner union, so that you can come together with a man or a woman. and so that you can reclaim your power. That is going to be released on the email list. As of the time of filming this video, I'm still putting it together. So when it's ready, there's going to be a special price that I'm going to give to the people on the email list. You can hop on there just so you're there. The second option, if you're really serious about this and you want to explore what my work looks like, and if you're a good fit for it, there'll also be a link for the application for my one-on-one membership. So you can click that below. It takes just like 5 to 10 minutes. You can share with me where you're at and what specifically you're working through. And then we can hop on a call, talk more, and see if it's a good fit to actually work together. And of course, I will be posting tons of more free content on here on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram as well. That is my main platform. But the real transformation doesn't happen by watching videos and getting more information. It comes by applying the work, actually applying the practices, actually building a lifestyle around this type of orientation towards self, other, and life. Okay. Thank you for being here today, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.